Beautiful, isn't it? We are in beautiful, rainy and green Pune, where we've been having a blast today riding this motorcycle in the rain. Yes, the Pulsar brand doesn't need an introduction. It's one of the most popular motorcycling brands in the Indian market and probably even the global market. But this one, the latest Pulsar, does need an introduction. That is why we are here to tell you what this is all about. Hello, welcome to DriveSpark. I'm Stephen Neal and this is the new Pulsar N160. What is the N160? Where does it get its roots from and what's it like to ride? We'll tell you all that, so stay tuned and let's get riding. Hold on. Before we get to talk about what it's like to ride, before we go riding it and show you what it's like to ride, let's talk about the design for a brief bit because, well, it is perfectly in line with the N250 in terms of design. Now, the Pulsar N250, the latest generation of Pulsar, was launched in October 2021 and we have already ridden it. You can check out our review on that as well. But this one, well, it's based on the N250. Everything about it reminds you of the N250 and for good reason. It's based on the same frame, it's got the same underpinnings, the same fork, the same wheel and tire size. Everything is the same except for the engine. So, well, for a brief period of time, let's talk about the design. So up front, it's got the same sharp striking front fascia. So you've got the projector LED headlamp up front, you've got the LED DRLs over here, eyebrow shaped of course, and well, above it you've got the analog digital instrument cluster. Now this one looks really neat because it does look like it's a part of the headlamp unit, but it's actually a separate unit, and the view from the rider's point of view is really nice. Actually, it looks like this is a separate thing, but then it's actually together. So it's a really nice design. The indicators are halogen lit. Now this is something that could have been better because this, of course, is a sports commuter. It is a premium motorcycle, don't mistake me, and well, halogen indicators on such a motorcycle don't really make sense. It did need an LED. We do hope that in the future the next update would bring LED indicators to the N160. The rest of the motorcycle is the same. You've got the same sharp angles on this motorcycle. Now this shade of black is unique. It is specific to the dual channel ABS version. Yes, the N160 is available in a dual channel as well as a single channel option. The single channel option starts at rupees 1.23 lakh ex showroom, whereas the dual channel ABS goes up by a few thousands, by around 4,000 rupees to 1.27 lakh ex showroom. This color is available only with the dual channel. The single channel ABS version does get three other colors. You've got the red, blue and the grey. This black though looks really nice. You've got a few grey elements on the fuel tank extensions as well, and then you've got this really nice black chrome Pulsar logo that looks very nice indeed. That is something we really like. And then you've got the interesting graphic design all over the motorcycle. You've got the red color, the grey color going on, and then you've got the logo itself in white. Especially over here you've got the N160 badging, and that pretty much sums up the color and the design aspects in terms of the graphics. Now let's talk about the engine. The engine does form a part of the design, of course, except that it's now a little smaller compared to the N250 because the size does matter in that case. And then at the rear you've got the same alloy wheels that you find on the N250. Looks nice. It's got a very peculiar, very unique pattern to it. And then you've got the disc brake up towards front and rear. The rear end is a little complicated in terms of design, in a good way of course. You've got the LED tail lamp, and then you've got this entire unit which houses the number plate mounts and the number plate light and the indicators. Indicators are once again halogen lit. That pretty much sums up the design. Now it's time for us to talk about the features on this motorcycle. So what do you get in terms of features? Now keep in mind this is a sporty commuter, and well, with that in mind, you do understand that you get basics only in terms of the features. So what are the basics? So as we said earlier, you've got the lighting that's in LED. You've got the projector headlamp up front, you've got the LED DRLs and also the LED tail lamp at the rear. So well, that pretty much sums up the lighting. The switchgear quality is brilliant. It does look nice. It does function well. Quality is great all over the motorcycle. We do not have any issues with the quality except for one part, and I'll quickly tell you what that is. And this is a known niggle. I'm not sure why this hasn't been fixed. For example, this cable stay right here that holds the ABS sensor cable to the actual brake line, well, it does come off on a lot of Bajaj motorcycles, and as you can see, it is off over here too. And as a result, while you're turning and you're taking corners or you're going through a pothole, I've been noticing that it has been scrubbing this part of the tank fairing, and that could lead to abrasion over a lot of usage. So that definitely needs to be fixed. It's a quick fix from the user's end. You can just get a couple of tags and just tie them together, but then this should have been done from the factory. Other than that, there are zero quality issues with the motorcycle. Now it's time to talk about the features in terms of the instrumentation, because this instrument cluster, well, we saw it on the N250 and the F250 earlier. It's an analog digital instrument cluster. So what you've got here is an analog tachometer, well, an analog engine speed gauge. Well, who wouldn't like that? Hardcore motorcyclists would prefer this over your digital instrument clusters, and it is really nice to see the needle go up and down with the engine revs, and we've been enjoying this quite a lot, especially from this point of view. Well, you're just looking at the instrument cluster and this gauge go up and down while also looking at the road, so it's a really nice thing. Also, you've got this unique LCD backlit instrument cluster. So this part of the instrument cluster indicates the speed, the trip meters, the odometer. You've got a distance to empty gauge on this, which is great for this segment, and then you've got the gear position indicator, fuel level indicator, etc. So there's quite a lot displayed in this little screen, and it does take some getting used to, especially because the digits are really small. But other than that, there's zero complaints with this. It looks really nice. Well, it feels really nice to use this instrument cluster. And then you've got your usual telltale lights all over. So you've got your side stand indicator, battery indicator, engine malfunction indicator, high beam indicator, etc. So that pretty much sums up the instrument cluster. Other than that, well, you've got dual channel ABS, and you've also got a single channel ABS as an option. That's the lower variant. So that pretty much sums up the features end of this motorcycle. Now finally it's time to tell you what it's like to ride. That there is the heart of the motorcycle. The Pulsar N160 is powered by a 165cc single-cylinder air and oil-cooled engine. It is a twin spark engine as opposed to Bajaj's triple spark, which has always been its trump card. Now this one puts out 15.7 bhp at 8750 rpm. Now that is pretty high up in the rev range, and the torque comes in also pretty high up at 6750 rpm. Now that is 14.6 Nm. Well, that is just alright in terms of the power. Now this is not the most powerful 160cc motorcycle. Its sibling, the NS160, is a bit more powerful, and well, that gets a lot more features as well. So what is this motorcycle about really? Before we get to riding it, I'll just give you a quick listen to show you what this motorcycle sounds like, because this is one of the most likable sounds in the 160cc segment. So here we go. As you can see, it settles down into a very smooth and stable idle. It sounds really nice at idle as well. However, when you rev it, it begins to sound even better. So here we go. So there you have it, the engine sound of the N160. Now let me tell you what it's like to ride. Now this engine, as you already heard, sounds really nice, be it at any RPM. Even if you're revving the nuts off it, it sounds really nice, and if you're trying to push the low end, it sounds nice as well. However, in terms of the behavior at lower versus higher RPMs, this engine is happier in the mid-range. The power and torque comes in at higher engine speeds. However, it's happier in the mid-range because it sounds a little stressed at higher revs. Now, having said that, this is a sporty commuter. Bajaj themselves say it's a sporty commuter. They're not pushing this as a performance motorcycle. So a sporty commuter has to do well in the bottom end, and that is something that this motorcycle can get better at, because at 2000 rpm it does pull well. Well, it's not very quick, to be honest, but it does accelerate without any hint of a struggle. However, it does sound very stressed. There is no engine knocking as opposed to the older Pulsars. However, it sounds better, it's more relaxed above 3000 rpm, and that takes a bit of working, especially in stop and go traffic. Now we did ride it in a bit of traffic as well, and well, what we found was that below a speed of 15 kilometers per hour, well, you have to shift down to first gear, and in traffic, well, it does take a lot of shifting between first and second gear. Apart from that, once you get to decent speed, say you're doing 45-50 kilometers per hour, it does ride really well. The engine is at its best at that speed, and well, in terms of cruising, if you decide to take it out on the highway, which we did, Well, it's happy at around 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. There's no stress, there's no strain on the engine, and you as a rider are also very happy. And well, you push it anywhere above that, it does tend to struggle a bit. Now, what is this motorcycle like to ride? Does it give you the best performance? Well, in weather like this, in conditions like this, honestly, I didn't feel the need for a bigger engine. This motorcycle did keep me very much entertained, and well, I did enjoy playing around with it a little bit. Now, that was a characteristic of this motorcycle. It is very playable, it is very enjoyable indeed. How does it ride though? Well, the suspension is a bit on the stiffer side, and as a result you do get a little bumpy ride, especially if you're riding off-road, you're going through potholes or going over a speed bump. The motorcycle is a little stiff, and that could be a turn off for some. And adding to that is the stiff seat. Now, on the whole, it looks very soft. If you're pushing down on it this way, it does look soft, but once you spend an hour or so in the saddle, well, you do need a brake. And of course, there's a split seat setup. The pillion rider also would need a brake now and then. Well, that could be a slight disadvantage. Apart from that, this motorcycle is excellent. Up front, you get the largest brake in its segment. It's a 300mm brake, and of course, dual channel ABS does make it a proper braking package. However, the brake can be a little discomforting, as when you press on the lever goes all the way in, and this is a very discomforting feeling. Well, you do expect the brake to become firm when you get to a certain point. That biting point just doesn't happen. It just keeps going all the way in, and that is discomforting. However, the brakes are powerful, so well, that thing could be corrected. And well, apart from that, there are no complaints with this motorcycle. It is a great motorcycle to ride. So who is this motorcycle for? It is for those who are looking to add a bit of zing to the everyday commute. It is for those who want the N250 but just can't afford it. And well, this motorcycle does give you a bit of what the N250 does at a much more affordable price. And well, have I mentioned the fuel efficiency? Bajaj claims a fuel efficiency figure of 48.5 kilometers per litre, and in an age of rising fuel prices, that is something we like to hear. With the N160, buyers as well as Bajaj themselves face a dilemma. You see, Bajaj already retails the Pulsar NS160, and now with the arrival of the N160 in the same segment, in the same price bracket, well, it does tend to be a bit confusing. However, Bajaj seems to have found that the NS160 is a little less preferred to the NS200, and they want to keep that NS brand reserved for the performance market, and hence they might end up discontinuing the NS160, and this one is very well capable of filling those shoes. In fact, it can be a little more fun. We have had a lot of fun on this motorcycle today, and we cannot wait to get back on the saddle in the rain, do a little more slipping and sliding, and well, have some more fun. You until then, stay safe and ride safe, and we'll see you in the next video. This is Stephen Neal signing off for DriveSpark, and we are gonna head out to ride some more.